Well, today in a wonderful day in the Lord, we're looking at chapter 15 of Judges. We're still in the life of Samson. Things are heating up for him. He's been very angry after losing his riddle and his wife, but he doesn't know he's lost his wife. In chapter 15, after he got over his anger, he's a very angry, vengeful man. He goes to see his wife in verse 1. But when he gets there, he finds out that the father of the bride had given his wife to another companion because he didn't think he wanted her. He tries to appease the anger of Samson by giving Samson another daughter who he says is even more beautiful than her sister, but Samson would hear none of it. And in his anger, once again, he goes out and he catches 300 foxes. I'm not sure how he did that. And he ties torches between the tails of pairs of foxes, sends them out into the fields to burn the fields down. Now, how in the world he did that and what that exactly looked like is beyond my comprehension, but somehow he did it, and as a result, he destroyed a lot of crops of the people of Israel. One thing to notice here is he was a judge, and he was to, as a judge, he was to try to help Israel be set free from the Philistines and their oppression. But Samson never really sets anybody free, and he doesn't lead them in deliverance. He just does evil and mean-spirited and angry things, where he causes a lot of death and a lot of harm, but accomplishes virtually nothing in the process. Nevertheless, after doing that, the Philistines come and they burn down the house of the father because they're mad at him, which is ironic because in chapter 14, verse 15, they threaten this wife to be with burning down her house and herself if she didn't deliver the riddle to them that Samson had given them. And so and now that actually comes to bear upon that family. Kind of a very sad thing. But Samson continues his revenge, and because they did that, he says, I will take a revenge on you, verse 7. And he struck them with a ruthless and with a great slaughter. So he goes out and kills a bunch more of the Philistines, just killing them. And then in verse 11, he goes down, verses 10 and 11, he goes down to get away from the Philistines, and the Philistines tell the Jewish people, you better deliver him over or we're going to kill you too. So they've convinced Samson to give it up, and they tie him up and bring him to the Philistines, thinking that they're done with this and probably done with Samson. But that was not the case, of course. In verse 14, we find that the Spirit of the Lord once again comes on Samson, and he has a great slaughter. This is one of the best known of the stories of Samson. He picks up a jawbone of a donkey, just laying there on the ground, and he begins to go to battle against the Philistines, and he kills with that jawbone 1,000 men. What power he had under the strength of the Lord. And then he says in verse 14, with the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have killed 1,000 men. As usual, he is an arrogant man. He is taking all the credit for what is done here. It's not the Spirit of the Lord, it's Samson. And so I have killed 1,000 men with just a jawbone of a donkey. As a matter of fact, he names the place at verse 17, Ramoth Lehi, which means a high place of the jaw. And so in essence, he's developing a memorial for himself. He has killed these people with a jawbone, and he's taking credit. This is going to be a statue, so to speak, a place named after his great feat. Well, the Lord brings him to some humility here. In verse 18, he became very thirsty, and he called to the Lord and said, now notice how he's changing things all of a sudden. You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant, and now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? And now he turns to the Lord and cries out for mercy, for help. He's going to die of thirst. And the Lord split the hollow place in Lehi, so the water came out, and he drank, and his strength returned, and it was revived. Then he renamed the place, this time in Akar, which means the spring of the one who cries out. Now he's giving credit to God. The spring of the one who cries out, the one who cried out to God for mercy. And so there's just this little piece of humility in the life of Samson. This arrogant, angry, foolish man sees at this point his need for God. The only time that he ever really sees a need for God until the very end of his life, as we'll see tomorrow.